Testing, testing, one, two, three. Is this on? Hello, hello. Oh, that's weird. Just quickly making sure all the chats are up, refreshing everything. Steam has not loaded yet. Oh, there it is. Just loaded. Got Steam up, and I've got the chat up, and I've got TikTok loaded now. I can see the stream, but I'm not getting a chat feed yet. Stand by TikTok as I refresh. We've got TikTok feed up. Hello, hello. We've got Twitch. We've got Steam. We've got YouTube. We've got Facebook. We've got everyone right now. Twitter. Yep, that's the whole lot. Welcome, one and all, to the weekly Mapmaker Monday stream. My name is Mac, not Map. My name is Mac. I am the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. Clearly early for me, and I'm still working on my coffee, so bear with me as I wake up a little bit and we get our day started. Mapmaker Monday is essentially, think of it as a live build stream where I focus on building a map. You can ask questions, follow along, and you can think of these streams as an AMA format. So if you have any questions related to Dungeon Alchemist, feel free to ask, and I'll do my best to address them and provide live support for you. So if you have a question relating to what we're doing or even something we're not focused on, feel free to ask away. Again, welcome. My name is Mac, and I'm glad you're all here for this this kind of strange edition of Mapmaker Monday, as I'm still kind of a little loopy and waking up. Jean-Luc, welcome, welcome. David Larson, hello, hello. Y'all are funny. Yeah, let's get started on this coffee. Steve in the house, thank you for the like on Facebook. Much appreciated. Jeez, Atlam, you're everywhere, my man. You are just like just bouncing around. A pinball. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do first is kind of give everyone a tour of what we've been working on, and then get back into building. Just to showcase, this is a massive cemetery, well, starting to be, complex. It's an ancient cemetery that's been around a while, and here we have kind of the first swath of graves that we put in. This one's kind of just generic middle class kind of graves, nothing too fancy. Here we have more like noble, maybe knights or you know, royal family type grave. And then I'm going to use this space back here for the caretaker's cottage, maybe like a little farm and a big kind of like shed with like tools and stuff like that. There's going to be a big road coming through this area, along that, and along here, and going that way. This is kind of like a roundabout in the center. We've been mostly focused on building around this chapel the last couple streams, kind of fleshing it out, making it feel more, I don't know, used, so to speak. Oops. The chapel, one thing we've been doing is focusing on the gardens behind the chapel. It'll be kind of a little walkable area that has, you know, little benches and neat little areas to observe, you know, statues and fountains and whatnot. Essentially just a nice little walkable space around the chapel that leads into different parts of the cemetery as well, or different roads. That was kind of the plan here. So I'm gonna finish up the pathing here and start, you know, wrapping up the decorations, the wrapping around the chapel. And I'm going to start putting stuff in these outer areas. I was mostly gonna do like just trees and big shrubs and bushes on the outside areas along the fence. And then on the inside would mostly be like flowers, statues, light shrubs, ivy. I think it's looking really good though overall. David Larson, I was blasting out a bunch of small battle maps yesterday. I had 10 more puzzle rooms to assemble and get printed off. Nice, congratulations. It's fantastic. Sounds like a lot of work. Just noticed this whole area kind of was really painted. Anything, it was just rock. Dirt and grass. Wow, fantastic. That's impressive. How big are each of the maps? Okay, let's finish out this part, which I don't really enjoy doing, which is the paver stuff. Do that first, so. Man, if I gave my players that many puzzles, they'd never get anything done. Doors and puzzles, their worst enemies. Get this group of players together and they act like in front of a door and they act like they've never opened one in their life. Oh, that's not bad. I was like, man, you're pumping out 25 maps in the last week. That's impressive. Still impressive at that size, but man, I was like, how are you doing that? That would be... I wouldn't even get to sleep if I was doing that many maps. Now I know your tricks. Doing some modest size maps. Makes it more reasonable workload. That's smart DMing right there. Because, you know, me, on the other hand, I'm really not big-brained, and I just spend hours on maps that no one ever plays, or they play for like 10 minutes. It's my burden, right? So, how was everyone's weekend? Did you have any... Hey, Ava, how are you? Welcome back. Did you do anything interesting this weekend? Did you have any sessions? Did you do any session prep? Been hearing about David Larson's session prep. How about anyone else? Let's hear what you've been up to. And if you weren't doing any session prep, you know, if you had some fun this weekend, let's hear about it. Me, I was a homebody. I did nothing. Oh no! I hope you're all right, Ava. I mean, you're in the hospital, so I'm assuming, given all things considered, that you're doing okay. That is awful. Hospitals are the worst. I hate hospitals. Oh, that's good to hear. Well, on behalf of the damnation, I send you many good vibes and hope that you are able to get home soon. So Ava over on TikTok is letting me know that they are in the hospital, and that is just awful. That is the worst. That is the worst. So, sending you well wishes. Really sorry that we're doing a really boring kind of part of the map right now, but I'm almost done with it, I promise. Considering just putting extended piece. Was once like kind of hyper fixated on this dungeon I was building that was essentially kind of a composite of like some pop culture references from Adventure Time and also a show called Infinity Train. But basically, I wanted some sort of like endless dungeon that was sort of like on a loop. And how I was portraying it is as an like an endless caravan, like a cursed caravan that is essentially kind of making a blockade that's blocking off a large portion of a kingdom from another portion. And the whole plan behind this was to, I guess, corral the players into entering this caravan trap and solving the mysteries within it, and rescuing people inside and or the kingdom itself. Anyway, it was kind of an interesting idea, and it's still like I have like tons of information for it, like written down and put to paper. And but in practice, almost everyone I talked to just kind of felt like they were being railroaded and when they were playing it, so they didn't like it. So it just never went anywhere. Half ogre question: would you be able to show applications for the magic projector asset? Having trouble with minimizing it and trying to hide it and have a big enough projection for it to be useful. I mean, I will be honest with you, the more you shrink it, the more that projection shrinks. So it is kind of something, kind of a catch-22 there. The magic projector is a very unique asset. Sorry, let me show everyone what we're talking about here. Isn't it? Magic lantern. This is what you're talking about, right? I guess, you know what? I guess it doesn't shrink the image that much. Huh, I thought it did. Well, first things first, make sure you disable collisions if you haven't already, which will essentially unlock the ability to shrink it far beyond normal capacity. And then the further you get away from a surface, the bigger the projection gets, but there's kind of a distance on the light. So I believe you can turn up the brightness just a little bit, but it doesn't help tremendously in increasing the size or the range. So you kind of just have a pocket of distance. Now, the other thing that's neat about this, for anyone who may not be aware, here, let me make it nighttime. We're going to make it nighttime so that, like, if you see there, it's projecting an image on the wall, right? You can actually change said image to, you know, a custom image. So people will use this to project like shadow monsters or, you know, custom art, etc. Something interesting. So, are you having issues with, hey, Ron, how you doing? Are you having issues? It was shrinking the image for you? Interesting. But mine doesn't appear to be shrinking the image at all when I'm changing this size. But it's weird. Huh. It could just been that instance you were dealing with. Another thing to consider too, just make sure your collisions are turned off. But I hate how it determines what is a surface it can project on and what isn't. It's like clearly something's wrong here. Anyway, I hope that it enlightens you a little bit, helps you out. Just call me Run on TikTok. How you doing today? Oh my gosh, thank you so much for 1K likes on TikTok, by the way. We are just killing it over there today. Hopefully the algorithm will favor us. We might get noticed. Notice us. Oh, this is gonna be ferocity over here. What am I building? So right now I'm building this massive kind of like cemetery complex with like a big, you know, cathedral. And I'm doing some path around the cathedral and kind of some like gardens and stuff to just make it feel like it's been here a long time. Thank you, Ron. Appreciate it. Trying to kind of match this curve, but this is such a sharp curve, it's not going to really match at all. It'll just be, you know, somewhat drastic, but not as drastic. That's what. No, I'm just kidding. I'd basically just straighten out here. Now I kind of have this path around all this. But essentially, there'll be like an inner garden and an outer garden. The outer garden will be larger, like, you know, shrubs and trees. The inner garden will mostly be like the ivy and the flowers and the smaller shrubs. You were trying to use it to project a stained glass image. So were you trying to put an image on like a glass and make it stained glass? Is that what you're saying? Half ogre? I just want to kind of understand what you're doing here. The reason I ask is there is actually some stained glass. There's a few examples of stained glass on here. A shrubbery! But, I mean, they're not, like, perfect. Light doesn't bleed through them. You know what I mean? So, it's not a perfect solution. Hey, welcome back, Troutfoot. How you doing? We got a lot of people on YouTube today. How's YouTube doing? Let's try something really quick. We just had that stained glass, right? Let's just try searching stained. Let's try searching glass. Yeah, when it was named, there's like a underscore in it, so it's hard to search it. I'm just gonna try one of these, see what it does. Gotcha. I kind of understand what you're trying to do, and I'll be honest with you. Stained glass is a little tricky in general. Just because, like, the light bleeding through on the other side will never, like, project that. One trick to kind of get that same feel without having to project anything is to use the multicolor invisible lights. Have you seen those before? Because that's actually been used with great success to kind of just give that stained glass projection feel. Let's see here. So we have these like spotlight down, spotlight horizontal narrow, omnidirectional. These are probably the best way to get away with what you're doing because you can go in and change them to like some different colors here to kind of match the stained glass, right? Or whatever's coming through, and then just put it on the ground here somewhere. That's like the best way, in my opinion. Because our light, like if you use a stained glass asset, the light won't bleed through it. It just looks like it's stained glass. Using the projector could do it, but it's going to be tricky because you can't aim it down or aim, you know what I mean? You got to just shrink it and kind of deal with being it being kind of a tiny projector there and the image at that size. So I guess if that's okay, then yeah, that should work. I can't even grab that out. There we go. Fixed it. Almost 6:30 p.m. in Barcelona. Yeah, I guess you could. You could use an abstract image, like an abstract object, like one of these planes, and then just put like the image of the stained glass in it, so it seems like it's projected on the floor right there. That would be kind of one way to do it, but you'd probably want to skew the image a little bit so it's not like a one-to-one. 3K likes on TikTok. Wow. Wow. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. Okay, let's continue the garden. You can hear the garbage truck outside because it is garbage day. So loud. Yeah, you could do that too. Just no light will come through it. I think that's kind of what he's looking for. Half Ogre, I do wish I had a better solution for you at this time. Unfortunately, I do not. I'm sorry. One thing I could do is, you know what, I'm going to write this down. I'm going to ask Wim if we have time to add some stained glass assets in this update. So I just put Mapmaker Monday. I gotta just put today's date so I don't lose track of this. 10/14/24. Stained glass windows. I'll put Wim. Question. There. So now I know to ask Wim about it later. By the way, if y'all have any feedback or suggestions, let me know. I'll do my best to try and answer them. Or, you know, if it's something I can't answer, if it's like a suggestion or feedback, I'll take notes and pass it on to the devs when I next speak with them. Run what would be awesome in Foundry? Sorry, I forget what I said about 10 seconds ago sometimes, so I apologize there. Gore, how you doing, buddy? Hanging in there. Yeah, I've actually seen that done with good, like really good effect. I can't remember what the map was, but I know someone in the past did a chapel that had stained glass windows that did that. I think it was Von Yakos that made a map. And in his map, stand by. I'm gonna see if I can see it here. Cathedral. Let's try that. I think it was this one. Yep. Stained glass cathedral. Let's open this up. Oh, no. No, I didn't save. Here. I'm going to save really quick, and then we'll do that. It wasn't part of like the crazy cathedral map. It just is a. It's just it was, I think, the cathedral dam challenge though, or like worship or something like that. By the way, our upcoming dam challenge is Ghost Town. If you're interested in participating in that challenge, make sure that you... Sorry, lost my train of thought there. Again, I gotta drink more coffee. Okay, so the Dam Challenge is an ongoing map making contest we host here on our various streams, but primarily in our Discord. There's a channel labeled Dam Challenge in our Discord. There's some rules pinned at the top. But if you submit a map using Ghost Challenge as a theme, the map can be any shape or size, and you submit it following the rules pinned in the channel, your map may be considered as the winner for the Dam Challenge. If you win, you get a $10 Hero Forge gift card. Your map is featured in our Cartomancer Chronicles weekly newsletter and is the first map featured on the Dam Challenge stream. So, with that in mind, it's kind of a good way to flex your map maker muscle, show off your skills against other community members. Now, getting back to the build here. If I recall, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it wasn't this map. I don't know. I could have sworn he did stained glass and put some lights by it to give that effect. But maybe I'm wrong. No, I don't know. But it turned out pretty good all the same. Which one was it? Yeah, I can't remember. I feel like there was a map. Someone did some lights like I was showing you, though, and they put them right on the other side of the window on the ground where it would kind of... You'd have that light, and it worked out good. Okay, fair enough, Ava. By the way, I monitor chats on all platforms, but... Yeah, I do think watching on Twitch is probably the best. It has the lowest latency and the best view of the overall stream. Instead of the tiny little stream in the middle and the camera above, it's like a big, huge view. I do have autosave on, but just in case my autosave interval didn't catch it, it might have been a problem. You know? And it wasn't much work, but it was some. Alrighty. Where were we? I want to put a statue here. Let's look for one. And I need a pedestal. I'm going to put that one there, probably, and just kind of rotate it a little bit. Break this guy down. I don't know if he'll fit that pedestal. He's got kind of a wide base there. Do away with the pedestal. Just use the base that it comes with. One's a little weird. Don't know how I feel about that. You know, I feel that. I feel that run. Totally. Is that run amok, by the way? All right. I think some more just kind of assorted flowers and some ivy. Oops. You also want to make sure it's not clipping into the building. Kind of rotate it a bit. Oh, we got a flower peeking through there. Side. Seeing any foliage leaking through, so we're looking good. Looking good. Okay. Lodwick, how you doing? Welcome, welcome. How's the view on YouTube today? Seems like we're getting some good support from there today, so I appreciate it. Glad to hear it. Oh my gosh, stream fam, I'm actually so excited because the weather is starting to get better here. And it's finally like really nice out. I was doing some yard work yesterday and I didn't feel like dying. So for some context, I live in Vegas and it was very hot this year and it's only just starting to cool down, starting to feel like fall. Love that. That's a good little setup there. Kind of want to add some more flowers in this area. Maybe I'll scale them. Run amok, what up? Honestly, this has got to be probably one of your favorite months of the year. Because then you get to go, amok, amok. Little hocus pocus reference there. Hey, Anna Banana, I am doing well. How are you? Welcome, welcome. Okay, let's see. We need more ivy. I really like kind of mixing the ivy styles. It feels like it's doing something kind of different. But then we have this huge wall here, so I really want to take advantage of that and have some ivy growing way, way up. How often do we get to do that, huh? Something like that looks so cool. Well, I'm glad to hear that, Anna Banana. Honestly, like, I really enjoy the streams because it allows me to connect with our community and, you know, teach them things about Dungeon Alchemist they may not have known. But also, it allows people who don't know much about Dungeon Alchemist, who haven't purchased it yet or know nothing about it, to really get a chance to and see it in person, you know, up close, ask questions, etc. And I am so glad that I was able to help you and you were able to, you know, try it out. And now that it's just like it's like almost like breathing for your campaigns. I bet now it's like a tool in your tool belt you can't do without, is it? I really do appreciate the kind words. So Anna Banana on TikTok said, I wouldn't have bought DA if I hadn't seen your stream and everything it could do. That's really nice. Thank you. Nighthawk, new here. Just joined the Discord channel. Where can I find details on the Dam Challenge? So there's a Dam Challenge channel in the Discord, and there's rules pinned at the top. But if you have questions while you're here, feel free to ask, Nighthawk. By the way, I want to let everyone know that is here that if you're new or new to Dungeon Alchemist and you may not have purchased it yet, if you're sitting on the fence, we do offer a free demo now on Steam. So you could try the demo and see how it runs on your computer before you invest, you know, in purchasing Dungeon Alchemist. And that way you can kind of get a feel for how it operates and if you want to actually purchase it. I know a lot of people really enjoy that aspect because it wasn't something we offered initially. So if you look at the pinned comments on the channel in the damn challenge, there will be some rules. But for the most part, and it also there's a message with congratulating the most recent winner and then letting everyone know the newest challenge, which is Ghost Town. So the rules are really kind of laid back and relaxed because the challenge it's mostly for fun. We don't really want anybody to get, too competitive. It's all in jest, really. But the thing is I also like keeping it simple so more people are willing to participate. Typically, you have 2 weeks to kind of think up and make your map and submit your entry. You're just learning about it now, so you have a little less time. In fact, you are kind of getting close to the deadline. You have between now and end of day on the 18th. So whatever your time zone is, just submit it by the end of the day. 11:59:59 in your specific time zone in our Damn Challenge channel using the rules pinned at the top. The rules are basically you just got to share an image, little description, the actual DAM file, and you need to put the map on the workshop and share the link for that map. Additionally, when you share it on the workshop, somewhere in your description, it needs to say Ghost Town Damn Challenge. It makes it easier for me when I'm searching because I can just search Ghost Town and it'll find all of them. Troutfoot, that's a really good question. The average user in our community can usually make a map up to like 40 by 40 with relative ease. Some can creep up to 60 by 60 if you turn off animations, use low quality, stuff like that. By the way, if any of you are here, have any questions, concerns, suggestions, feedback, maybe you want to see a teaser from our next update, let me know here in chat and I will do my best to assist you. So let's, if you have any questions, let's get those out. If you want to see the teaser, I'd love to see raised hands. Let me know. Well, does it run all right on your MacBook, Nighthawk? By the way, so to squeeze out some extra frames, everyone in DA, you can go to File, Settings, change your settings to, say, low quality instead of high. It'll always export in a high quality. So you could run in low quality to squeeze out some more frames. Keep in mind there's not as good of shadows or lighting when you do that. It completely gets rid of those shadows, right? Other things you can do, run in lower resolutions. So if you're in like a 4K or a 1080, maybe try a 1080 or a 720. Couple things that I like to do to help squeeze out some more frames too when I'm trying to optimize for big builds. In the View tab, you can disable natural animations. Give you an example of what that does. Look at this water feature here. It's no longer moving. Same thing with like rivers, ponds, any water, it would stop if you do this. So you just go enable natural animations, turns it on, disable, turns it off. So lava, water, etc. They'll stop moving. It doesn't work with all things, like torches and stuff, but it works with a lot. Yeah, the demo is kind of limited. I think it's like a 20 by 20 with the forest biome, and I think the only thing you can do is make like a tavern or something, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a minute since I played with the demo, but man, someone shared a map on the workshop the other day that was like massive. What was that thing? It was a Faerun world map. Hold up, let me save this. Hear me out. Hear me out. Hear us out. Okay, let me see here. Let's go to sub maps. I subbed to it the other day, so it's this right here. This one's 257 by 230. This is a forced perspective Faerun Forgotten Realms map. Like, that's insane. It's really big. There's people in our community who have gotten up to 1,000 by 1,000, but they are doing it with like a virtual machine that's ran through like a massive server farm or something. I personally was able to open this big map on stream the other day, the 257 by 230, so I know it's possible to run, and obviously someone made it and uploaded it to the workshop. This is one of the biggest I've ever seen, though. Like, it's big. So map size is directly proportionate to your computer specs. I mean, the larger, you can make bigger maps if you have a tank of a PC. And keep in mind, Dungeon Alchemist isn't really a game. It's a real-time, it's a map maker that renders 3D environments in real time. When you play like a video game, even the most modern video games like Baldur's Gate or Cyberpunk or any of these like really heavy-duty games that take a lot of hardware to run effectively and clean and really well, those are all pre-rendered environments, right? So they build the environment, render it, save it, and then you interact with that pre-rendered environment. With DA, you're actually building and rendering the environment at the same time. So I do think that's crazy to get up to this scale of a map with something like that. Oh, wow, that's commitment there, Half Ogre. What are your PC specs? I'd love to. In fact, everyone, let's share your specs if you'd love to. I'd love to hear it. I'll start it off. Hey, Caillou, welcome back. How you doing, buddy? My PC specs. Here, thought I clicked some Ivy. I am running a 4070 Ti, 128 gigabytes of RAM. Let's see here. Here, let me just pull up my DX diag. I'll just share it with everyone. Maybe. A Ryzen 9 5900. There, you can see 132 gigabytes. And then over here, that 4070 Ti. Let's see here. I'm in 4,000 or so megabytes, so, you know, just a bit. 4 gigabytes of RAM. Just a bit. But the thing is if I zoom out... Hold on. Pretty sure that scales, like, with what you're looking at on the map. Hasn't gone up. No, it's scaling the CPU. But I have found just overwhelming your computer with lots of RAM, like extra RAM, it allows you to just run things like DA in most games rather well. I mean, 8 gigabytes is like the bare minimum for running DA. We actually recommend, 16. You need 48 for one of your maps. Can never have too much RAM. What's too much RAM, anyway? Listen, if my motherboard can't support it, I just shove it in all the extra slots where it can't fit. Listen, it's really just a matter of willpower. Do my needs and wants supersede that of the computer's recommended specs? Trying to figure out what I should put here. I do like all of the statues though. It's interesting. And over here I did like opposing statues, so I could do some of that over here as well. One more statue there maybe to kind of round out the corner with some plants in between. A shrine, huh? Well, I was trying to figure out what to do with this space over here, so this could be like a little shrine area. This tree ultimately will go here. It just had massive colliders, so I didn't want it there at the time. I'm going to have like little paths and benches, I think, along here for people to kind of enjoy the area. By the way, if any of you are like kind of sitting on the fence about DA, be sure to add it to your wish list on Steam. That way, if it goes on sale, you'll be alerted, most likely be alerted, and can get it on that discount. That, and stay tuned to our social posts. On occasion, we get like a heads up a little early if we're going to be included in the Steam sales. So... I also have this whole other side here, too. Nice, Ortega. How you doing, by the way? Welcome back. Gonna put some ivy again. Ivy's just one of my go-tos. Oops. But I really enjoy putting a little bit on the ground, just kind of like it's escaping from the wall there. Looks like your signal is too weak. Oh no, run amok. Ortega, I'm good. Thank you for asking. Thank you for asking. By the way, Run Amok, you did not bother me one bit with all the questions the other day. I do not mind answering questions at all on the streams. About the only time it's a problem is when we're doing like the dam challenge, because that's mostly a focus on those maps instead of support. That's like that and streams where we're doing a reveal, like a live reveal of something, such as, like, you know, upcoming, you know, new drop, like map, or like not map drops, but new update drops. We'll occasionally do a couple of streams leading up to those updates that are like teaser streams, and during those it's just really hard to answer support questions. We do, though, answer questions related to the update. Nice. That's very cool, Ortega. Your printed maps. Are you in our Discord by chance? I'd love to see those, some images of those maps, if you wouldn't mind sharing them. Oh, I don't mind at all. Like, think of me as like the really supportive Funkle. Like, I'm here to just like help our community grow and support each other and help you come up with solutions to your problems. Like, that's the one thing I feel like I prefer to do, is try to find a solution instead of just being like, no, that's not possible. You know, the only time, and that's the reason I dislike the 3D export question, because I always have to say no. I can never say yes, you know, or have a solution. It upsets me a little bit inside. Just adding a few little mushrooms. I miss mine walls in this system. What do you mean, Graphio? Mine walls are definitely possible. Caves and mines. Very, very, very easy to do in Dungeon Alchemist. So this pathway is a combination of two objects, okay? Uh-oh. All those on that. The first is the outer paver, which is actually just a half wall that I found from our objects. If you go to Objects, Structural, Freestanding Walls, every wall type we have under the Wall menu is available as an object wall, which means you can place it at any height, you can resize it, you can raise it up and down. So what I did is I grabbed just one of these that has kind of the little notched bricks on the top, and then I sunk it into, I disabled collisions first. When you disable collisions, you can raise and lower objects, merge them together, etc. And now that's the outer part of the path. The inner part is an object I found on the Steam Workshop, which anybody in our community can do so. If you have a copy of Dungeon Alchemist, a purchase copy, you can access the Steam Workshop repository of maps and 3D assets. So there is over, 9,800 free maps shared by our community. And assets, there's like 6,000-ish now, 6,100 and counting. And many of these jump outside of the fantasy aesthetic that we provide with Dungeon Alchemist, so you can leap into, say, modern, cyberpunk, sci-fi, apocalyptic, etc. I mean, here's a computer, here's some cool sci-fi doors, you know, things like that are very possible now, and you're seeing more and more maps on the Steam Workshop that dive into really any aesthetic. Granted, it's not supported with our, AI, but it is possible. That being said, I just searched for pavers, or path, I think was what I searched in here. Yeah, stone path. And I downloaded all these and started using them to make the path. And between all the different shapes, I was able to kind of make this whole area. So I'm going to just open a new map to answer Graphio's question really quick, and I'm going to do it in the cave biome. So we have tons of biomes, and you can add caves to any map, but if you start in the cave biome, especially if you're looking for a mine with artificial tunnels, probably a good idea to start with the cave biome because it's in solid rock, and you work within that. I'm going to set the vegetation as empty, so it'll have very little rocks and plants. No weather, no lights, but we could do like torches and stuff. That way when it starts carving, when we start carving it out, it'll fill it with torches, which adds to the mining aesthetic. I'm going to go no water. If we want water, we can add it, but I'm going to leave it as solid rock. That way I can carve out the mine shafts, okay? So solid rock. Next, I'm going to hit create. You can generate buildings with round rooms now, Oscar, or you can use the round walls under objects, structural, round constructions. There's a few options here. Not many, but there are a few. And then, like I said, you can always use the draw room tool and make if you make it a perfect shape, symmetrical. So this is 8 by 8. Can't be 7 by 7. It has to be divisible by 2, right? When you do that, then you can drag it in towards the center there and make a round room. So you can have round walls that way. Anyway, moving on. Let's get back to the tutorial at hand. So our friend Graphio said, I would like artificial tunnels as if they were excavated, typical wooden structures that support excavations. I hope I have explained myself. Yes, you have. So if you go to the pit room type, okay, you go to pits and you go to earthen dig, right? And we can just generate like a hall here. I'm going to sink it down a little bit and generate it. Notice how it's got like support beams and stuff on the side. That's one type we have. These pit ones kind of add to that aesthetic. You can do rock digs, you can do whatever. Alternatively, you could just do a regular room type, right? So let's try. Let's just start with like a crypt and we'll just cut a hallway. And I'm not going to make anything special about it. I'm not going to generate any objects. I'm just going to generate a wall. And in fact, I could leave it without a floor, so it's just like the rocks and dirt on the bottom, which is a nice aesthetic. So we'll do that. So that's just dirt, right? These walls may not match what you're going for right now, but we can go into the alt walls, right? And start looking at some of them. We have, let's see here, rock, and these have here, for instance, like support beams, like it was carved into it. I believe we also have a dirt wall. One second, I'm trying to find it. Natural, these ones here. So then it looks like that on the sides, which has a much better feel, right? And you could put this wall on the outside and the inside. And now I've kind of made like a custom mine shaft. The last thing I'm going to do to really kind of bring this aesthetic home, when you carve out a section into the caves, it brings the walls out at an angle, which makes it more optimal for export, but I prefer this visual where you bring the walls in much more seamed. So if you do the raise cave area tool, it'll bring those walls in very clean with the top of that shaft, right? If you don't want excess wall, remember, you could always just have the structure that you're generating at the height that's the top of the building. So you can kind of see where it's at right now, right? If we lower it, it's sinking down quite a bit. Raise it. Let's just do like a little bit down. Does that make sense? So it's actually like, you don't have to do it as far down as I did to really get that same aesthetic. The other thing I like to do, actually, I've done a lot of mine builds. I've actually shared one on the workshop if you want to take, well, a couple, but if you want to take a look at them. So, in my head, mines are a combination of, they're dug into like rock that is actually self-supporting, and they may need a support beam or like the support bricking every once in a while. Cribbing, etc. So, like, this is one particular mine that I've done that's built into a massive cave that I dug out, kind of with that solid rock biome. And then I ran, the different train rails through it and set up, kind of an encampment in the beginning where they can ferry in equipment, ferry out dirt and goods, or like gems and gold. Different work sites. Here is a massive drill site with like a sluice box. Hey, Ricky. And they pump water in and, rinse off the stuff and look for the glittery prizes. Over here, different aspects where they're mining away the rock, and they've got like the different supports and cribbing. Now, you can take these poles here, right, and put them in the middle of your map anywhere in a cave, and now all of a sudden it feels like there's a support beam, right? We also have some of these things that actually are support beams, right? So you can take these and start putting them up in like the kind of the cross sections in your mines to really, in your caves, to really add to the aesthetic that it's like a cribbing. I'm going to disable those collisions, raise it up. Or that it may not be as stable. So you add in these little aesthetics like that throughout your map, and it definitely feels like more like a mine. You have all sorts of support beams you can use. So Graphio, I hope those pointers help you towards that end. Because more often than not, it's a hole dug in and then they put supports in the hole in the areas that are dicey, right? But if they're looking for gold, they're usually digging into what? Quartz, right? Quartz is pretty solid, unless there's other areas that they're kind of digging through that are less solid. Anyway. I actually have an older version of this exact same map. Speaking of ceilings, I mean, there is technically a virtual ceiling in caves. If you're in first person, you don't see out. It's grayed. That's like the immersion ceiling that we have for now. But speaking of ceilings, I've been authorized to share a clip with y'all that is some fantastic, like, amazing grade teaser. Now, keep in mind, this is very early alpha footage. This is not necessarily finalized, and, it has some work that needs to be done. Graphio, by the way, if there's aspects you're not familiar with or unsure, ask questions, and I'll try to, cover those things again. So we can make sure that we, address all your concerns and at least try to make sure you understand what you're getting yourself into. I'm going to open up another map that I did the same thing, essentially. This is the older version. Before we had a cave biome and things like lava and the actual rails I made. So, here's the thing. With tabletop games, you essentially enter maps, you enter a building, and then it's revealed to you, right? Otherwise, in, say, a virtual tabletop, where a lot of people play, there's fog of war that blocks out that, right? So adding in like a ceiling, not only are you adding in an extra degree of difficulty to your exports, you're going to have to export every map twice. For the ceiling itself, just the ceilings will have to be one export. And then non-ceilings would be your regular map. In a printed scenario like your situation, Ortega, where you play with printed maps, if I were you, I would just print out some ceiling options, some prefab roofing that you could put over buildings that you definitely want to allow your players into, that you could peel back when they enter them. Kind of like a fog of war, or you could just cover it with construction paper or something. But I've seen people take brown construction paper and just put some like roofing tiles on it, put it on top of the buildings. That works. The other thing, you do have the option to add roofing right now in Dungeon Alchemist. There's probably 300-400 different roofing options on the workshop and a handful built into Dungeon Alchemist. Between that and the ability to disable collisions, you can raise objects up and put roofing over housing. Heck, this cave, I could cover every inch of it if I wanted to with rocks and make it all sealed, but then exporting that would be a nightmare. I'd essentially have to have two maps, just so I'd have a sealed boxed version that I'm going to play in top-down anyway. I understand having like a roofing for, say, something like a first person, like if you're running around in a video or you're taking some screenshots, it's better immersion. But for the most part, roofing is kind of a very trivial piece of the puzzle when it comes to a fantasy setting when your players are, imagining that they can fling fireballs. So in this cave, this is the older version, that same one. All I did was put like these beams everywhere, and in my head, that's like the ceiling. That's where the roof is. Like above this is like rock, you know? So this is like, they see the support beams throughout the mine in random places. But for the most part, like this is a great example. It's not really much of anything. This is a very old map. I made this, 2+ years ago. But yeah, the roofing, let me show you that video one more time. I'll just put it on repeat for a minute. We're definitely working on roofing, ceilings, the like. I wouldn't expect cave stuff right away, mostly just roofing for actual buildings. I mean, if you're doing filler buildings, why are you generating them with the AI? Why not just put an actual filler building, like a prefabbed home? You know what I mean? Like, if you're generating a structure that has stuff inside of it, that's implying that your players could get into it at some point, right? If it were me in that scenario, I would just put a prefab, one of the homes, one of the probably 400 or 500 prefab homes on the workshop. So, yeah, you could actually put a physical roofing. In a cave, though, Graphio, you will not get outdoor lighting. It doesn't let any in. And it only lets it in at the cave openings. But separate indoor-outdoor ambient lighting will be addressed in our next update, first off. Secondly, I say this all the time, and I hope people don't take it like I'm being crass or rude. I played at a lot of tables as a player and a DM with Dungeon Alchemist maps, and I've spoken with hundreds of DMs who use Dungeon Alchemist, as well as hundreds of players who play on tables with Dungeon Alchemist. And in all of that time, not once has a player complained about the lighting leaking in from the exterior. Now, one thing I will like to point out to our DMs, we are in early access, so it is a weird kind of quirk. It doesn't make sense. But as DMs, we are cursed to be detail-oriented. That's part of the reason we're the DM in the first place. We have a knack for details and storytelling, and so we see these things like the lighting from the outside leaking in over the walls, and it makes our brain freak out, and we don't like it. I'm the same way, but I've actually trained myself to ignore it because my players don't notice it. More often than not, they're worried about kicking goblin butt or looting or, trying to... Essentially, they're there to kick butt and take names, not critique me on window placement or where lighting leaks into the map. And so I just want to point out that, yes, it is frustrating. There are some weird quirks to Dungeon Alchemist, especially because it's in early access. It's not perfect, and I will definitely be the first person to tell you that. I do not want to overpromise, If anything, I want to underpromise and overdeliver and make sure the expectation is clear. We are in early access. We have at least 5 major updates until we leave early access. So there's a lot of work to be delivered on. And in that time, things like the lighting quirk, ceilings, multi-level, all of these things are going to be addressed. Yeah, the players have never noticed it. The other thing that DMs will it's like the hill they love to die on with me, is on the DPI level of exports, okay? So there is this kind of trend that DMs insist on exporting at the highest level DPI for their maps. And I understand you want the highest quality possible, right? It's free to just click high quality. Why not? I just froze this map. Oh, there we go. So you're saying, Mac, why shouldn't I, right? In my opinion, several reasons. First off, if you're playing online, you definitely want to export at a lower DPI because you have several factors in play. Your player's internet, your player's computer, and the file size restrictions and DPI, like actual resolution restrictions of the services you're using. So let's say you're using, say, Foundry. Foundry has both file size limits, and resolution limits. And you can hit those. If you supersede them, then you are kind of at that point where your players will likely not be able to load the map, and you're reducing the play experience, right? Part of the production is making sure every player, even the one with the weakest computer, the potato computer with the hamster running it, can play, right? So first and foremost, you want to export your maps to make them small. So exporting at low DPI. And if you're doing animated maps, make sure you export a still version of your animated maps to have a backup scene in your VTT of choice. So if one player can't load it, then you can switch to the non-animated. So Foundry supports animated maps and non-animated maps. I use Foundry as well. I always have a backup of my animated maps as a standard scene, because animated is great, but Foundry just, it's not quite there yet in what it can support. It's getting better with each iteration, and they're just like us. They're kind of, getting better as they go. And we are adapting to the things they address and add to their stuff. By the way, I've noticed we had some follows in like the last half hour, and I just want to say thank you. So, Obi Che, Dr. Metal Oric, Keith, Massanis, and Eternal Shadows, thank you for the follows and likes. Much appreciated. Oh, Realm Walker Maps, thank you for that follow. Much appreciated. So earlier we were talking about what you should do if you don't want your players going into a building, right? Me, if I have a building I want them entering, I will draw it with the AI generation and then have that as an open building, right? If it's something I don't want them going into, I'll put a building like this, a closed building with a roof. This is usually indicative to them. If there's fog of war, that means you can go in. If there's not fog of war, this means this is not a place you should be going into. And if they insist on going into this building, like being a little, thief or whatever, I'll just generate a new map that's just the floor plan of just that building and set a scene. That way, I don't have to have every single building be traversable in a map. That's very helpful storytelling mechanic as well. It is, a big sandbox environment, but at the same time, you have a story to tell and you're guiding them on a path. And so you got to kind of have some bumper rails that keep them going to the right path. No, I don't mind at all, Graphio. Honestly, I'm here to answer questions. Me, if I don't work on the map for a little bit, it's not the end of the world. And I've been here just answering questions because that's what I'm here for as the community manager. That too, Callie. Theater of the mind is a very powerful tool, and it can very decisively move things along. Okay, I think we get so dependent on maps, and maps are amazing. You can have a very unique piece of scenery, too. Just a screenshot of a map can be just a very nice theater of the mind set piece to really just inspire their imaginations. I personally don't like doing combat as theater of the mind because I hate describing distances and stuff. It gets really hard to keep track of everything. I definitely always do combat on a physical top-down map. But if there is travel, or sometimes it's like a big setting piece, sometimes I'll just have like an image and then describe it and talk about it with them. What is your go-to method? Let's say your players, maybe throw you for a loop and want to go somewhere you didn't expect them to go. What would you do in that case? Would you just generate a quick map using Dungeon Alchemist? Would you use Theater of the Mind to quickly kind of work your way out of that situation? What's your go-to method there? Okay, let's get back to the build. Okay, so over here, I want to do a shrine, right? Some sort of shrine. Let's see what we have. You do this, right? Oh, that goes on the wall. There's no way to not snap it. I'm going to disable collisions, right? Nope. Cannot be resized. I'm going to look on the workshop, see if we can find us a nice little shrine. Guillermo, how you doing? Welcome. Exactly. You get it. Like, honestly, I will never do combat as Theater of the Mind. I will always do combat on a map. Even a physical map, even if it's just graph paper. But when it comes to storytelling, it's not always a requirement to have a map. Just a screenshot or even theater of the mind is usually adequate. Okay, so I'm going to look at some of the structures and we'll see what we can come up with for this. So I'm probably going to have to whip up something custom here. Don't like that. Let's look at some stone platforms. Ooh, these could work. Okay. One of these could be nice. Put a few of these like right here. Like, I don't mind murder hobos, but I think the table has to be ready for it or consigned to that fact, right? I think, you know, the murder hobo party has a place in every, you know, it has a place, but let's just say not everyone's for that style of play, right? You know, Graphio, that's one thing I definitely always try to do in my dungeon maps, is I always make sure I have at least 10-foot hallways. 5-foot hallways are the bane of fun, in my opinion, when it comes to combat. Every once in a while, a 5-foot hallway is okay, but like constant 5-foot hallways means every battle in a hallway is going to be like just this one little line where all the players are lined up, where all the baddies are. It's just not fun. Okay, what can we put on this altar here? Round platform at the top. I definitely want something over it, like an arch of some sort. Some of these, like, kind of make a pergola or something. Do some of these buttresses. It really makes me want to, like, put some of these up here. Looks kind of neat. Just trying to come up with something to put over this. What, you mean this over here? The other fountain? What other fountain? This one here? I mean, that looks pretty good, though. I'm not going to lie. I wouldn't, you know, be lying. I said I didn't like it. Like, this is really cool. I just got to get the angle just right. Where it's like all openings. Not the right size, and it always overhangs. That's part of the problem with this asset. See that? It's gonna drive me crazy. If I move it too much this way, it's blocking that path. And then there's a big stone right in the center. Ah, can't win. That's about the best it's gonna get. See, now there's a big stone thing in there. Yeah, I can't win with this one. Can't win. Right? Ugh. Like right here? Is that what you're talking about? Callie? I don't like these. Yeah, trellis would be good too. Like these. I just wish we had a bigger arch, you know? Like these are not ideal for this. But what I could do is something like this. Right? Do a few of them across. Kind of merge a few. And then leave a gap. And then put a couple more. This was one thing I was thinking of doing. Something like this. There are these ones with like the stuff on them already. I tell you, it's a curse. I'm telling you, you can't fight it. But at the same time, you got to. We're all cursed with it. And that's the thing. You got your own little battles. You got to choose what's acceptable for you. Shrink these down just a little bit. Not like 80 feet tall. Let's copy it off of that one. Yeah, I'm going to put some ivy, like this stuff on it, because you could just put some on the side really easy. And then I'm going to drape some over the top. You really want to get technical too, you could put some on the inside. And there's even this, like, vertical ivy that you could put on the top of things. A bit bigger if you want. Kind of twist it, put a few pieces here and there, right? And we also have hanging plants. So we do. Let's see. I think we have potted plants, and then we have hanging plants. What are they? They just kind of mixed throughout. I like these little. Oh, that's a beans. And no, I have some like wall plants. Where it be? Here? Nope. Okay, well, where is these? Couple hanging planters. And like these stands. That's about it. Really strange that the other version of it isn't there. There's like pre-decorated ones. I know they exist. I mean, you could make that as your ghost town entry. Why not? But yeah, that's looking pretty good. Coming along. Thinking instead of wall plants, though, I'll just put like little stands in here. Some actual planters and stuff. So we could do something like this and against the wall. Some of these type things. This could act like a little shrine or whatever. We could put some benches in there. Nice, though. Excuse me. I need to run a quick little ad break and kind of stretch my legs and go fill up my water. Will everyone be okay without me for a minute or two while I share with you our newest ad, our latest ad? We have worked with them before, so you may be familiar with our previous ad from the One for All crew. But this one is kind of newer, so you may not have seen it yet. And it was to help us advertise our new round rooms.
But can it handle curves?
But can it handle curves?
But can it handle?
But can it handle curves?
But can it handle curves?
But can it handle curves?
But
can it handle curves?
Dungeon Alchemist, the AI-powered map-making application for role-playing games, now comes with both round and diagonal walls. Create amazing professional maps for your players in seconds. Get it now on the Steam store.
But can it handle curves?
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 Dungeon Alchemist, the AI-powered map-making application for role-playing games, now comes with both round and diagonal walls. Create amazing professional maps for your players in seconds. Get it now.
I said that ad was great, wasn't it? We'll be right back. I'm back. Ooh. Thank you, thank you. It's good to be back. By the way, we got about 20 minutes left with the stream today, so I'm going to try and get as much work as I can done during that time, but if you all have any questions, feel free to let me know, and I'll do my best to address them. I'm going to put a altar here. Anything? Probably just a bit size. Then I'm just gonna put some candles on this. Ooh, I got caps on. Maybe some coins. I really love our candles have like all these different color options now. Hey Highland, welcome. Dyro, welcome back. How you doing? Oh, that's awesome. How you been as of late, my friend? Some of these candles. Yeah. But also just dim them so they're there, but they're not like. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Oh my gosh, congratulations, my friend. That is awesome. No need to explain. Totally get it. Very, very hyped for you. Excuse me. I kind of want to leave these spaces open here as like navigable so they could come out and like sit in a bench or something, like in these little bends, but I want to block them off so they're not like stepping into their stuff. We started putting this earlier, so we could use this as kind of like a fence. Little do not cross barrier, you know? Something like that. So, Brendan O'Connor, some of the terrains are more powerful than each other, and how that, why that is because they're not a consistent spread. Some are more consistent, and the others are like kind of spotty. Excuse me. Part of the problem lies with the fact that our terrain tool is part of a third-party integration, not something we developed in-house, entirely in-house. That's why there's a limit to so many terrains and liquids per biome. Excuse me. But essentially what he's saying is, and I'll show you. Say you're trying to paint under here. First off, even with my powerful computer, it skips and has issues, and it's sometimes one of the terrain brushes will be more powerful than the other. Like it doesn't seem to fill in those spaces. If I switch to this one, for instance, it seems to have, other than the little bit of a skip here and there, seems to have pretty much no issues filling in these blanks. It overpowers the other ones without problem. Same with these two paints. What I like to do is go over, like if I'm doing rock, I'll go over it with this paint first, because it's a much more, like it drops more evenly. And then I go over it with this one, because this one has cracks. And the cracks, you can see the paint below underneath. If it was dirt underneath, you'd see that dirt. Excuse me. So watch what happens if I do it just this rock without that other one. You can see the green underneath, right? Because it's not a consistent paint, it leaves little gaps in it. So depending on the terrain brush, some of them are solid and some of them are spread. So unfortunately for now, that is the behavior. It's not ideal, and we hope to address it with time. One of the creator of Dungeon Alchemist, one of our lead developers, he's basically said that he would like to redesign the terrain and liquid brushes from the ground up because he's not happy with them. Many in our community would like every single terrain brush available in every biome, so the biomes would be like exclusive at generating those types, but then you'd still have access to the other types so you could mix and match. Having sand and snow and all those things in every biome would be very nice, and I agree. I think that's just something we'll address with time. So, the slider, okay? These sliders, one increases the brush size, so as you can see there. Brush strength is how quickly, really, it fills the area. Like, it's still, like, no matter what, if a brush has gaps in it, in the brush itself, it will always have gaps, even if the strength's at max. See there? The dirt is still underneath it, no matter what I do when the strength's at max. It just means it'll fill that space quicker. That's really all brush strength does. Brendan, is there a particular like biome you're working in and you're struggling with a particular set of stuff, or what's going on? Well, meadow grass is actually like a very, very prominent grass. It like always includes the flowers and stuff. One second. I'm going to save this map and we'll open up a new biome. It has nothing to do with it not making a difference in how the terrain paint functions. That's just how it is. It's not that it's not removing something, it's that it can't. This particular paint will always have these particular like meadow things in them. The green, like it'll always have the flower integrated. It's not an object, it's part of the terrain. That's how it paints. The only way to get rid of it is to change the paint altogether to a different one. And I'm assuming that's the issue he's running into here. Some, like I said, will have gaps in it, breaks. So the key is to go over it with one paint first that removes everything, then go over it with another. It's about layering. Order of operations, essentially, just like I showed you with the stone. So in this instance, like the meadow, like all these flowers, I'm assuming you're painting over it and the flowers and stuff is still there and you're like, why isn't this going away? This is frustrating, right? Because that's part of that paint. It's never going to go away. Unfortunately. You may need to use a different biome if you don't want the meadowy, flowy flowers throughout it. But the positive of this biome is you get sand and grass and stone all in one. So it's perfect for making like islands and all sorts of stuff. Primal, I appreciate the love. How you doing today, my friend? Sorry, my throat is just so scratchy right now, and every time I say a few sentences, I gotta like clear my throat. I'm glad the stream's wrapping up in about 5 minutes, because I don't know how much longer I could talk today. I'm assuming you're not a fan of the way there's always plants, right? Is that what it is, Brendan? Do whatever I want, Wardian. How you doing, my friend? Welcome back. But yeah, meadow grass, like all of that stuff is part of it. No, I understand. That I'm here to answer your questions, but I'm thinking part of the problem is the biome. You may want to switch biomes, my friend. Try the forest biome unless you absolutely need that sand, because it'll have a lot more control over the paint. Like none of that like extra stuff is in it, and when it is, like all these are for the most part objects that can be picked up or painted off. See these? you could easily just erase them. That way it's just grass and a little bit of stones. So it could be a meadow. Or, you know, if you want it to be all grass, you can go in and just pick all grass. Unfortunately, it doesn't have that sand, you know. But yeah, I understand your frustration there. The meadow biome is, or like the grasslands biome, it has its ups and downs, some quirkiness to it. It has, while it has the most paints available in a single biome, 3 of the paints like are very, very like alpha layered, so they like override everything and include tons of plant life that you're not expecting. A swampy region, so it's going to be like an overworld map and you want to add a swamp to that area. If it were me, I would probably just use like the muddy water in that area, right? Fill it in like that's like the whole swamp area, and then just add like some dead trees and stuff. And a little bit of rocks and regular trees. So you have trees. You can add like some of these dead ones, but make them really small, right, to scale. Turn off those collisions. Add a few of these into the swamp. And then also add some, like, there's some bushes and stuff that could fit in pretty good. Some stumps, little things like that, right? Can do some of these, like, the ground ivy that's a little bit more green. Just stuff like that to really kind of fill it in so it feels more like a swamp. The moss on the edge of the water line is a really good tip, too. Because it can just be, like, right on the edge of the water, making it feel really, ugh, you know? But that would be, like, you know, if you're zoomed out, that would be your kind of, that's your several square miles of swamp. Or, like, you know, probably 20 to 30 square miles of swamp. That would, and then just do some little raised bits of land here and there. So do it very tiny. Oh, nope, I'm doing paint, not raising. So let's do really tiny, really slow. You can kind of flatten it out or... But there wouldn't be much land in the swamp, just here and there, right? Little pockets, and you could put, like, some little shacks on it, like wooden huts. Really any wooden structures to make it just feel... Yeah, you could add some gators. Ultimately, though, we're not making, like, it's more like for a world map, so you're doing forced perspective here. The muddy water is going to be the way to go, though, in my opinion, because it really just gives off that swamp feel in the entire region. Remember, all these different... I mean, if you need ice, let's say you wanted this to feel like it's snow area, that's a good way to do it. You know what I mean? Muddy is the swamp. And then if you want a northern area on your world map, run amok, the rocks, right? You can do mountains with the different rocks, right? By adding, like, different ranges of rocks in the areas. By scaling them up. But there's one in particular rock that I love, the sandstone rocks, right? Oh, not that one. But most of the sandstone rocks, they have this color option on them, so you could change them to black or anything in between, but you can make them white, which allows you to do, like, big snow-capped mountains off in the distance of, like, your biome. But only the sandstone rocks work this way for some reason. I don't know why. Not all of them either, just some of them. It's kind of frustrating. But this way you could, you know, do a kind of a mix and match of these and get yourself like some snow-capped mountains or I don't know. But I've seen some really good kind of like snowy areas made with just that. And that's how they added kind of white, and then they used the ice flows for blue. These guys here. Combination of the two to add like a kind of a Arctic region. But you get what, like, that's how I would do that. One probably good way to address a world map is in the grasslands biome. I'm not gonna lie, because In the grasslands biome, you have the most paints available. So you could do a desert, you could do a forest, you could do, you know, a little bit of everything. So over here could be your kind of desert area, right? And then over here could be, you know, your mountains. And, you know, we could make this the swamp region over here. Kind of wipe out some of that less powerful paint. I think it was this one, right? Yeah. That grasslands paint is just not conducive. And then paint in some murky water over here. Kind of make it like a floodplain. I just couldn't remember if you were there, and also it helps everyone here too, so why not? There, we mix several biomes in one. Ice, you know, we could add a little bit of ice up at the top with some of the snow rocks, and good to go. Zoom out, add some really tiny structures, roads, stuff like that. You have a forced perspective kind of regional map. Anyway, back to my build. Actually, you know what? We gotta wrap up. So that's it. That's all, folks. Had a lot of fun hanging out. We didn't do a lot of building today. Primarily just provided support and guidance, which I do not mind in the least if that's all we focus on. I'd rather be helping you and making sure you're able to build maps, you know, at your comfort level. And you know, if you have deadlines for your campaigns, you probably need to make something sooner than later, right? So if I can help you now, I'd rather do it. Remember, if you need help in between the streams, our Discord, great place to go. We have 2 channels dedicated to support. Under the DA help section, there's several sections there, or subcategories within there that you can get help. There's tips and tricks, questions, support, etc. There's a voice channel called DA Users Helping Users, so you can hop in, and if anyone's available and willing, they'll hop in and provide assistance. We provide several streams throughout the week as well. So our next stream is actually on Wednesday, and it's a Discord exclusive stream. It's called Office Hours. Every Wednesday, we get together on Discord in a channel called... let's see here. What's the channel called? I 100% want to make sure I get it here. It is our Dungeon Alchemist headquarters. It's just like a stage channel. You can pop in, hang out, ask questions. We provide live support during that stream. Think of it AMA. But I also take down feedback and suggestions as notes and share it with the devs. We take a look at maps and assets from the workshop. But because Discord can't be included in our multi-streams throughout the week, this stream is Discord exclusive, so we can include our Discord community members and give them a chance to hang out and interact. All right. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Had a lot of fun. Again, my name is Mac. I am the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. Dungeon Alchemist is a map-making utility available on Steam. We now have a demo on Steam, so if you want to try Dungeon Alchemist out, see how it runs, give it a little test drive on your computer, try before you buy, so to speak, you can give it a try now. Try our forest biome and build yourself a little tavern, see some of the objects and get a feel for it. Do keep in mind, though, if you have a full version of Dungeon Alchemist, you have access to 12 different biomes, thousands of objects, and much more, including Steam Workshop integration, where there's over 9,800 maps shared by our community, and over 6,000 3D models shared by our community that allow you to expand the versatility of your builds, give you a much broader spectrum of capability for your maps, and throw some curveballs at your players they may not be expecting. Thank you, everyone, for being here. You really do make these streams amazing. You're the best damn community in the world. Appreciate you very much. Again, my name is Mac. I'm the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. We'll see you next time I give a damn. Mac out. Bye. Bye, everyone. Bye. Here, we'll do one more quick ad and we'll wrap up.
You stand before the long, dark road to the fabled realm of Doyak Ta, and before...
What do we see?
I don't know, a goblin.
I kill him.
But before she does, I, Gilliam of Firth,
Demand to know the goblin's name.
Hi, my name is Woblin.
Where do you live there, Woblin?
I don't think that's relevant.
Well, but I, Gilliam of Firth, demand to seek the goblin's abode.
Clever. Find family. Kill entire bloodline. I like it.
Seriously, we're doing this? Okay, well, won't be needing that anymore, will I?
Ever get caught by your players with your pants down? Dungeon Alchemist lets you create wonderful maps for any encounter in seconds.
Oh, Woblin, that's a very impressive cheese collection you've got there.
Yeah, it is quite impressive, yes. But you know what's more impressive? This map I have
To the fabled realm of Goyak-Ta. Please take it and leave. Close the door behind you.
Mr. Woblin, I cannot help but notice that you have a secret tunnel underneath your cabinet. Care to explain?
Download Dungeon Alchemist, the AI-powered map maker, on Steam today.
All right, everyone. Thank you for watching. You have a damn good week. See you Wednesday for office hours. Mac out. Bye.